Hulu. It's the greatest movie ever.
Welcome to dinner at the Round Table Podcast with DJ John Tovar, Nelly Nell, Chris Ryder, your source to knowledge. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram at Dinner at the Round Table.
You already know what it is, man. Live from New York, Dinner at the Round Table Podcast, man. In the building, we have Katie K, the public relations and media expert, my favorite publicist in New York, in the world. Welcome to Dinner at the Round Table Podcast. Ivy Productions in the house, man. What's up? Welcome. You finally made it to the round table.
Thank you, my love, for having me. What an intro, man. I don't do interviews often, so when I do, getting the love like that, just like, it fills my heart.
Listen, I'm the intro
It's
king.
like a big teddy bear, you know. It's like a big fluffy bear, you know. Whenever he, has one of his,
I can't hear you, sweetie. You keep breaking up.
Oh, I'm sorry. I said that Nelly Nell's like this big teddy bear, this big fluffy bear, So he gets all.
Oh yeah, he is. He gives great hugs too.
I mean, he looks like a teddy bear.
He gives amazing hugs.
Word on the
Like
streets
you can't go wrong being around Nelly. Like it's so positive.
Yeah. Word on the streets is that the honeys call me teddy bear. That's the word on the streets.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah.
There's a lot of other things that are kind of fluffy paws, but we'll get into that later.
Whoa.
You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. As the show goes on, Ivy, you'll get the drift of what I just said right now. But
yeah,
I mean, I could. I already feel like I'm getting it. That's the sad part.
Well, welcome to the show, anyways. As you guys know, John Tavar is having some technical difficulties, but he'll
as usual.
He'll join us, when he can. But Ivy, let's get into it, man. Let's talk about you.
Yeah, man, for sure. So who is Katie K? Let's get there first. Who is Katie K? And then
Katie K
Ivy Productions is.
So Katie K is so if you ask about Katie K the person, Katie K the person is a comic geek, a nerd, a person that likes to listen to endless hours of music. Someone like to help people. Now, Katie, the media personality, host of Monday Night Raw, Welcome to the Raw Zone, as well as the Clash Top 10 on Station Head. I am also a photographer and I'm also a branding media specialist. So I help people develop like a social media brand, help like develop their EPKs, help develop their different, like if you don't know what your brand identity is and who you go to, that's what I try to do to help people, especially like small businesses, independent artists, stuff of that nature.
So you mentioned something about EBK. That's what you said. What is that?
That's an electronic press kit.
An EPK, electronic press kit. So nowadays, like, even though I love the traditional ways of PR when it used to be on a paper and used to give it like a portfolio, but unfortunately life isn't like that now, where everything is so digitized. So electronic press kits are used for like media, artists, anyone that works and has a resume of sorts, if you want to say. An EPK is more of a like a picture, like a pop up to life type of resume.
Yeah. So then you have a press kit, which is the paper version that you take on interviews or meetings, and then you have the electronic press kit, which is the EP.
Yeah.
The one that you send in emails, the ones that you send, electronically to people. It's basically an entertainer's resume, whether you're a musician, a music artist, a producer, engineer, just somebody who's in the public eye. That's your entertainment resume, basically. Correct?
Yes.
Okay. So you're a specialist in that. And you actually got a bachelor's of arts in communication, which is great.
Yes.
And then you got a master's in public relations at the Hampshire University, right?
Yeah. So it's funny. I didn't know what I wanted to do until my last year of college, and even then it was kind of iffy because I had already studied literally my whole 4 years to be a history teacher.
Okay.
Even and everything. Like my father was a singer in Greece, and my mother worked for Giorgio, since she worked for Giorgio Armani. So I had, in a way, those connections, but I still didn't want to do it. I just wanted to be a teacher. And then my professor told me I had a few more credits left. And then one professor was a jerk and said I would never be able to make it as a teacher, this and that. You should find another major. So I said, sure, fuck it, why not?
No,
Is it okay to curse
fuck
here?
him, fuck that teacher. He was a bad.
Okay, as long as I can say the F word. You know,
Hey, we're an explicit show. We're rated R and X sometimes.
Curse like a sailor if you want. It's all good. Me and Nell.
Oh, I mean, no, I can't do that. Everyone's gonna kill me because I made a bet that I wouldn't curse that much. So I'm trying my best.
Hey, Katie, you're kind of
so
like you're kind of
after that. I ended up working with Angelique Lodada, who is back and forth. 1 second, let's see if I can fix this.
Yeah, fix it because you're coming in and out. You come a little bit in and out.
What about now?
A little bit better.
A little bit better. We want to have you sound clear.
I tried.
We have it clear and sound. Whatever.
I tried switching over the Wi-Fi. Can you guys see me better now?
Yeah, you good now.
Yeah, it was mostly your speech that was kind of like
my Wi-Fi
coming in and out. Yeah, you was like echoing and stuff, but you sound better now for sure. But
man,
yeah,
I just blame everything on the Wi-Fi.
Welcome to New York, where you have freaking 10 million people on Wi-Fi at the same time. Like,
yo, and then the funny part is, they try to be slick and steal your own goddamn Wi-Fi, so you have to make some type of password that says "fuck you, bitch, get off my Wi-Fi" in order for them to get the hint.
Yeah. So, you're very well decorated in your field as far as education goes. A lot of people pick this up as a second job, but you actually have a degree in public relations. So you have the Bachelor's of Arts in Communication, and you mastered in public relations, which is great because they go hand in hand, correct? Some people have a bachelor's in one thing and then they master something that's kind of not really too close to their
of course
major.
Of course, and even though I feel like people still succeed, because in reality, as much as I am grateful for my education. Everything I learned about promotions and PR, I learned it while I was doing photography and working for Cesar Cabrera. And when I worked for Angelique Lozada, like I was trying to say before, she taught me the actual marketing aspects of business, while Cesar Cabrera told me about what to expect in the industry. Because I've worked with people like Gilberto Santa Rosa, Bachata Heights. I've shot Anthony Santos, and we helped book him to come into New York for his concert a few years, like about 5-6 years ago. So I still have like those experiences that helped me more I graduated back in February, but the knowledge I have has helped me more than what the conventional degree will give you.
Absolutely, because the work experience and working around the media guru that you was working with, she's known in the industry, right?
Yeah. Right now, she's actually working out of Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
And then she works alongside Natalie Ginocchio, who works with Latin Trends, La Emperadora, and a whole bunch of other publications.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. To have that that person kind of guide you and show you the ropes, that's pretty awesome, because not too many people are fortunate enough to have somebody who has such a big resume like hers help out. A lot of people have to learn from on their own and basically come from the bottom.
No, of course. And it takes a lot, right? Because, and I always say this, I was never easy as a person. Like I feel like I've changed a lot over the quarantine for sure. But I feel like as a person, I changed a lot within the last few years. Yeah. So thinking about who I was back then when I first came to her, because I ran into her at an event about building your own business. Mm-hmm. And for her to be like, hey, meet me at Central Park at this time. We're going to sit down and have a coffee, and you're going to I'll talk with you about your brand. And then from there, it turned into an internship.
Okay.
And she literally, no one would give something like their first PR textbook as a way for you to learn and stuff like that. No one would ever part with their first materials. You know, I still have that textbook. Like, I still have everything she taught me. Like, she was the reason I did my first marketing campaign. So I'm very grateful to her for everything she taught me.
Yeah, she was a mentor to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's great, man. I have that. Talking about your public relations and media background, Ivy Productions, that's your company. You know what I'm saying? That's what is Ivy Productions? Can we get a little bit? I mean, we know what it is, but let's tell our listeners, our viewers.
So Ivy Productions, honestly, is a media and production company.
You guys don't sell lipstick, by the way, because that looks like.
Thank you. This is actually called Street.
That's a cool logo, though.
Thank you. I love, like, my name Ivy came from, like, you know how we all had names in the past?
Yeah.
So I kind of wanted to take my past and make it something that more of a positive than it was a negative. So Ivy Productions came along because I am a photographer first, then I worked into public relations. So I wanted to make a one-stop shop for anyone that's looking to brand themselves, that's looking to get professional photos, because it's not easy. And especially now that we're in the area of I guess you want to say post-COVID or COVID wave 2, whatever the case may be, where you could find things that are affordable, but at the same time, you know, you're not getting hustled like everyone else is doing nowadays.
I see. Yeah, and that's one thing though. When you're coming into the entertainment industry, that this is a shady business to begin with.
You think?
No, I know so. I mean, me myself, I have a music management company.
Shout out to Generator Music Group.
Thank you. I've managed Papoose, Fred the Godson, a lot of known DJs. I've also had Sicario from Washington Heights. I've had a couple of people that I've dabbled in, and then a few local artists. But one thing I will say is that artists and entertainers appreciate like companies like companies like your companies that are straight legit, and there's no bullshit, there's no like underlining like sleazeball thing going on, you know what I mean? And that happens a lot. I mean, the industry, a lot of artists go in and they meet the wrong people, they meet the wrong managers, the wrong promotional companies, and they get screwed. So to have somebody like you running, Ivy Productions and doing like honest work, it means a lot.
Thank you. It's not easy by far, because I could tell you stories. I mean, shit, recently.
That's what we're here for. We want to hear your stories, God damn it. Come on, give it to us.
I swear Ray's gonna kill me right now for even saying this.
Well, you can say, you don't have to mention their names. You could just
So I manage an artist. We just did his release. Nelly was there for the virtual side of it. Like, he got a virtual seat and he was a part of it. So we were trying to work to get somebody on his platform, on Ray's platform. And I messaged this person back in January.
Okay.
There was a few months later, we stopped bothering trying to text him. Clearly it's not happening.
Okay.
I'm at my day job because I'm a teacher during the day. I actually ended up being a teacher, at least part-time. And I'm sitting with my coworkers and I get the wildest of texts, right? Oh, what you up to? And mind you, this is both to me and my artist, right? Get your camera, bring $200, come to the Mohegan Sun, and I'm going to take care of y'all. We get the interview done. Now, I'm Greek, and I come from a family full of gamblers. So I go separately, right? And I ask, what type of shit you trying to get into? Because Mohegan Sun is a casino. He's like, no, shorty, I wasn't trying to come at you like that. I'm like, my guy, I never said you wanted anything with me. I was just asking what the fuck you're doing in the casino.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know.
He thought it was something sexual. What the hell?
Yeah, no, I'm not. Listen, I'm an asshole and I talk a lot of shit on my show and I probably make wild and inappropriate comments. That's why none of my family's allowed to watch my show. But I would never go, especially when it comes to my clients.
Yeah.
Where it would cross some type of boundary.
Yeah, you're right. You can't. You got to stay professional all the time.
And then we get the wild Jesus selfie in the group chat. Where homie has to look like a god. Literally everything just in the picture was all white and glowing. And I'm just sitting here so confused. And then the last thing he said was, well, I told him it's last minute. I don't have $200 to go to Mohegan Sun. And then he goes, well, you're missing out on the best there is, you know, the greatest, the man, the myth, the legend. I'm like, all right, that's my cue to go. And I told Ray, I'm like, if you want to go, you're free to go. But I'm going to keep my $200 in my pocket.
Absolutely.
Man. The nerve.
And that's one of the things that we're gonna dive into definitely regarding how some entertainers want to have like the status that they don't even have at all. Like they want to go from first gear to fourth gear, from fourth gear to first gear. Like, and it's like ridiculous. Like they want to act like they're already there, like they already made it, and they're like the super famous person, and you know they have all this fucking public status, and they don't. But they want to live that lifestyle like they do, which is great because when you're an entertainer or particularly a music artist, you want to think as if you are the best, right? That you're the best at what you do, right? Because that gives you, you know, it gives you like power to do better, right, at your craft, right? But when you're having the ego issues that interfere with like your professional relationships, that's not good at all. And that's what a lot of artists fail at that.
That's
and then, like Nelly, you and I personally work together because we have a client in common the other day, right?
Yeah.
I don't think in the last meeting we've had, you never saw me say, yo, hey, pull up with a rollie, act like you something you're not. Like, yo, you want to brand it like this? Okay, let's try it. But before we do, what do we need in order to make that happen? You know, I always encourage my clients to honestly be genuine, because in the end of the day, and that's something I learned the hard way when I was branding myself, it took me 10 years as a photographer alone just to get the status that I am now as a photographer. And now I'm building my brand because of being a photographer. I know who I know. Now it's building up for PR. So I'm not going to change who I am just to fit somebody's mold and criteria. And I wouldn't expect my artists or my clients to do otherwise, because then it would be a hypocrite on my own practices.
Absolutely. And that's one of the things that you want to do. You want to stay authentic all the time. And it takes time to build into the best that you can be at your craft. It doesn't happen overnight. Some people get lucky, like Justin Bieber. He got fucking discovered by Usher right away and straight to stardom. But that doesn't happen for everybody. Not everybody's a Justin Bieber. You know what I mean? For the most part, a lot of people have to hit rock bottom, first of all, go through a lot of failure to be successful, or spending a long time like building relationships, networking to get to the top, right?
Bieber is just so overrated.
Justin Bieber,
okay.
He's my favorite ever. I got Bieber fever.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, relax.
Bieber is overrated because Bieber got discovered in the time where Disney was putting stuff out like High School Musical. And you just had Bieber doing covers acting like he was one of the teeny boppers.
Now he's a big hip hop.
And now first of all, Bieber should have stopped at Despacito. Why you decide to go and try to cross over when it was a fail? Because the better one was with Daddy Yankee anyways.
Yeah, but now not only did he cross over, but then he fucked it up too once he got
He
there.
called it a Despacito Dorito.
Yeah, like what the hell? Like really?
I want to see that. I want to see how terrible that is, because that shit to me is like, if you ain't got it, bro, why would you want to cross over? Some things you just gotta keep separate.
Yeah.
You know, like
I don't mind the crossovers though. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you.
But
I don't mind the crossovers.
Drake was able to pull off that crossover, and it came out pretty fire. But
When Beyonce did it with J Balvin,
yeah, but sometimes some people just they can't pull that shit off.
Oh,
Yeah,
Bad Bunny and J Balvin did it with Cardi B.
but J Balvin did it with a Greek singer too.
Yeah.
In the Mad TV Awards in 2014, J Balvin did the Ginza remix with Eleni Ferurius. I forgot how to say her name.
That's the new thing now. The popularity of Latin trap and Latin like pop music, it's super is at the same level as hip hop, and it's superseded it internationally. So a lot of hip hop artists are looking to do collabos with Latin stars like Bad Bunny, J Balvin, a whole bunch of them, just to have that, that popularity continue in their genre as well. I was seeing an interview with Jamie Foxx and Anuel AA, right? The Billboards was interviewing them because they Jamie Foxx is involved in a documentary series that is going to be released on Anuel's life, and they spoke about how reggaeton came up in the scene, and it was like first people seen it as a joke, but when like the people like Daddy Yankee, Telo Calderon, Noriega, the rapper, they introduced it, they crossed it over, it became popular. And now, then Latin trap came out, which is basically rapping in Spanish over a trap beat, right? And it became so popular that it superseded like the dominant genre, which is hip hop. But Anuel was saying that hip hop was what inspired the original reggaeton artists, and also inspired the Latin trap artists to even make the type of music that they make. So that them gelling together is actually a good thing, the crossover, right? So you're gonna see that a lot. You're gonna see a lot of collabos with big hip hop artists and Latin trap artists coming up a lot. You're gonna see that it's gonna be like the norm soon.
I think right now the way music, at least for the Spanish culture, and I think it's going great. Do I think we're doing great, like the United States and the American culture? No, I don't. I don't like. I personally am still. If I'm going towards hip hop, I'm still with the boom bap. I'm still with the whole Biggie. I'm still with Pac. I'm still with Busta. I didn't get to hear Busta's new album yet, but I'm with that type of rap.
Yeah.
I'm with conscious rap. I'm with. I can't sit here and listen to someone. First of all, like someone like Juice WRLD, right? The only reason I listened to his song "Smile" is because The Weeknd was on it, and I've been a fan of The Weeknd since 2012. But other than that, there's nothing you could do that will get my attention like that.
Well, I mean, you have your preference, but the fact of the matter is that pop culture, it supersedes everything because it's mainstream, and the radio stations, the TV stations, that's what they advertise. So at the end of the day, whether we have a preference or not, we have a preference. You have your preference. I am old school too. I like old school hip hop. I like real hip hop.
You're fucking up the whole way of the entertainment industry.
The funny thing is that we can stick to our preference, but at the end of the day, the mainstream media and the mainstream radio stations and the TVs, they're gonna push that popular brand, which is
right now. That's the way it is with drill music. Right now, drill music is everywhere. I like drill music a little bit more than the trap because I think the beats hit a little harder.
Drill music, I would be okay with, but I can't listen to straight up trap or mumble rap.
50 Cent, he really had a big influence on like the half bars. So that's why these guys, they rap kind of like the way that they do. And it's very simple. Like I can't sit there and listen to a guy like what's his name? Young Thug. I can't deal with it. Like I need to listen to something where it's like it hits me, and it's like there's real skill involved. It's
Can you
crazy
listen to
how
Wayne?
what happened.
Can you listen to Wayne?
Wayne from it's funny with Wayne though, because people either hate Wayne or love Wayne. To be honest with you, I think Wayne. I don't know. It's weird with me. Like I can listen to certain tracks of Wayne and be like, "Yo, he kills it." Because Wayne could get on a track with anybody and murder them, but his consistency is always what I had an issue with. For every legendary bar, there's an equally bad bar.
No, of
But
course, but that's all artists if you really think about it.
I mean, I mean, his is like apparent. Like, if you can sit there and Nas is like one of probably the most consistent rappers ever. Jadakiss, the same thing. It's very hard to pick a line from them that's trash. But I can pick out bars from Wayne. It's like, what the hell are you talking about, bro? But there's other bars that's like he completely outshines even legendary guys like Jay-Z on the track. He's had, I was like, damn. Like one example is Paper Planes, the remix, when they did that shit. He smoked everybody on that track.
The Pothead song, Paper Airplanes?
With was it MIA?
That's like I flying in payment plane.
No one on the corner got swag. The swagger like us. I'm sorry. That's
okay.
I'm talking about. He killed everybody on that track. Everybody. Nobody did good. Nobody touched him on that track. And then he's had tracks where it's like, dude, what are you doing? Like, but I can understand his mindset of pushing it out there. Just 50 Cent said something on Drink Champs that I was watching. He says, I went in there and did a Pac move, and I just threw off verses. I didn't give a fuck if it sounded good or not, and then I'll come back and fix it. But Wayne just throws it out there. He doesn't care whether it sounds good or not. He's just gonna, do it.
See, I heard from experience that Mano is like that, where he'll write a collab with somebody. Like, people will pay him for a collab. He'll do the collab, he'll record it. But if you ask him to be in the video, he won't remember the lyrics. So
you can lip sync to it. Fuck it.
No, so that's what he did. He'll lip sync and there's a lot of B-roll. I'll never understand how you feature on something and not remember there.
But Mano's a horrible performer. I'll tell you, that's probably one of the reasons why I've seen them live. I've been around Mano a lot because I used to run with Papoose. I used to manage him for a while.
Oh, that's so disappointing. I actually never seen Mano perform.
Yeah, I've seen him perform. Like, he does local clubs mainly, and then overseas he does pretty big. He does concerts in overseas. Yeah,
that's because hip hop got a big basis overseas. If you saw New York is crazy, and the United States. Now that hip hop integrated to Europe,
well, it's integrated a long time ago. It's been integrated like in the 90s.
Not really, because
Wu-Tang made it.
Wu-Tang made it, but then it stopped for a while, right? And then Europe had this weird thing. So we're talking about like 2008 up to like 2014, 15, that they kind of went back to like a little rock EDM type of thing, because there was like different people that were like doing Marilyn Manson's Tainted Love and all of that. And then recently, when they started integrating the Spanish culture, then they started integrating hip hop again, and then that shit popped.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, Europe in general is very versatile, and it has a lot of different music cultures going on at the same time. In France, particularly in France, hip hop is real big. Now, listen, man, I don't sometimes understand half of the shit they're saying when they're rapping in French, but that shit sounds hot as fuck. That shit is dope, bro. I'm like, I'll be like, this nigga's, he's kicking.
You mention that now, because one of the most fire songs, that I've heard came from like this, like, what was it? I think Korean dude. Japanese. He was rapping in Japanese, but the beat was ridiculous. I was like, I liked it, and I couldn't understand a word they were saying, but I think they had it was like a bunch of like Asian artists on there, and they had the trap, but they pulled it off. I was like, yo, this shit.
It wasn't Gangnam Style, right?
Huh?
It wasn't Gangnam Style.
It was like that. It was a
joke. You better not be.
No, there's like a K-pop. Are you talking about? It's like a K-pop group that does like rapping on top of it.
No, it was they did like, it was like a real like Japanese trap artist. And it was not trash at all. It was actually pretty freaking good. I was like, and usually it's very tough for them to like pull that off, but he fucking did.
How would you read those lyrics though?
Yeah.
It was, and I think I read the translation, and what he was saying was pretty. It was pretty. It was okay. It wasn't bad at all.
Yeah, man. So listen, Katie, as a publicist, you've also was the head of PR person at DTF Radio, which is great. DTF
Still am.
Radio was the #1 online radio station for a long time in New York. I remember when I first got introduced to DTF, when I first started, I started off of a garage in Brooklyn by Marcy. And I was there, and then they transitioned over to the studio where they're at now. Eventually,
They actually have one more studio on the other side of Bushwick, I believe.
yes,
And then they came to the Grand Avenue location.
yeah. Then the Grand Avenue location was the big place that they finally got. But you was the head PR there. How was that experience at DTF Radio?
I'm still the head PR. I'm the one that handles all the social media marketing. I handle everything like when it comes to media campaigns. I help Mark with the website. It's honestly great. I didn't think I was gonna go back to radio after my first hiatus. And then I honestly came to DTF. I don't want to say I was sauced, but I was, we were, it wasn't a sauce moment, right? But it was like, you were kind of nice, but not like whatever. But I was talking mad shit to my boy Pyro. Shout out to Pyro in the Off the Rip show.
Off the Rip show, yeah.
And I'm like, yo, I'm going to market your shit and whatever the case may be. And I was talking wild stupid. Like, I was trying to make him into a fucking stripper or something. And we're walking into the office talking about how I'm going to make him like a stripper extraordinaire. And the owner starts laughing at me and just started going from there, because I was actually saying some like tips as to how we could do it. And it actually sounded legit enough for him to take me seriously. It's really good. We got a whole bunch of shows there. We're opening up for podcasts soon. If they want to like upload their podcast onto the app, we're trying to do that.
And also, you guys are gonna rent a studio space for people who want to do the podcast.
Yeah, so we rent the airtime to whoever wants to rent a show, like to do their show. Like let's say dinner at the round table want to come back to DTF. Cough, cough. But they go talk to Mark, they handle the business side of it, and then I just sit there and I promote their shows like on a weekly basis. Make sure they're tweeted, make sure they get the proper attention that they need.
Yeah, it's great, man. I mean, I'm telling you, man, this at one point, like, I'm not too sure how it is now, but I remember at one point that they were like the go-to internet radio station that everybody wanted exposure. Everybody wanted to be a DTF radio. If he was a local artist, or even there's so many artists that even are in the industry now. Their first interview was at DTF radio, so they've been like a pioneer and like a stepping stone for like local artists to actually expose their craft. I mean, I mean, from my own personal experience of dealing with them, I've seen so many things. So many people come out of there like grateful of having their first experience on a radio station to be DTF. So that's great that you did that as well. And then we got the Monday night. We got the Monday Raw Zone, that's your own.
So that was my That's my platform. Still is. Still at DTF, and it's an amazing experience. And to answer your question about if we're still #1, right now, as far as I'm concerned, there's not a lot of other internet radio stations because it did not survive the COVID. So we're one of the few stations that actually survived the COVID, because we allowed digital streaming for the shows, that it was still able to go on the app. So they had the opportunity to be there without actually having to physically be in the building.
Nice.
Okay, I get that.
Yeah, so we wanted to give everyone an opportunity, especially when we didn't know how long this COVID shit was gonna last. So it was just really dope. But my show is called Welcome to the Raw Zone. We're on from 10 p.m. to 12 a.m. every Tuesdays. They seem to love giving me the late night slots, but I co-host it with one of my good friends and one of my artists, Michael Bostic, and we do a lot of shit talking. We do interviews on artists, local brands. We like to give everyone that spotlight that they deserve. We used to do performances, but because of COVID, we had to stop that. We did an annual give back every year. We also have the Tri-State Top 10, which is on Saturdays, and we showcase music from each part of the Tri-State. So it could be like Brooklyn, Queens, the 5 boroughs, but then you have New Jersey, and then you have PA, and then you have Connecticut. Like those artists are gonna get their shine there because
Tri-State area.
yeah, like the best of each area. So whoever submits, you know, we give them a shot because in the end of the day, the only thing that's been keeping us going through all of this COVID was music, was entertainment.
I see.
So the least we could do now is bring it on to a bigger platform.
Absolutely, no, absolutely, yeah. As a publicist, though, how your experience in dealing with ego issues with artists? Have you had that issue with any of your artists? Not the ones that you represent now, but have you ever encountered any issues with artists thinking a little bit over the top when they're not even there yet?
Yes, I deal with it now, and I dealt with it back then. And I say this person, they know. They know who they are. They know I call
them out. Call them out.
Listen, your boy knows I call him a diva. Now I'm playing.
It's the call out week. I've been calling people out the whole week.
Nah, I've already called out enough people the last couple of weeks. I'm tired.
Sometimes, you know, sometimes, particularly music artists, they don't realize sometimes how much of an assholes they are. Like I had this one artist, you know, she had the look. She had the skill set somewhat, and like I would give her advice, and when it would go in one ear, it would come out the other. She was very particular when it came to certain things. That she wanted certain waters at the studio when she was recording. She needed to have certain candies, but like say for the M&Ms, she only wanted the red and the blue ones. She didn't like the yellow.
Oh, none of them would do that shit to me.
Like, who are you? You Britney Spears? What the fuck? Like,
no one.
You're not.
I'll give you an example. If A did that to us ever,
like, I don't know, bro.
All I gotta say is, if A did that to you and me, for an example, I would listen, and then I would be like, "Are you done at that point?" Because that's what Eminem is not gonna get you to get the work done faster. So how about we just skip the BS at this point? And do it and it's true, right? Because I remember having a client, and she thought the whole world revolved around her. That I would drop whatever I had to do to go take her pictures or to do this or to do that.
Yeah. Or even personal things too, right? Like personal errands, I bet they would want you to run. They had nothing to do with the entertainment portion of your relationship with them.
Like I do too. Like my clients all know that there's certain things like we work. If you can't afford something, let me know and then we'll work on it. And I'm very flexible with them. But the moment I feel like you're either crossing a boundary that shouldn't be crossed or you're acting a way that's extremely out of character, I'm going to listen to it respectfully. I'm going to analyze it because I'm not going to do anything to come out of my character. And then either I sit down with you and we talk, or something's going to happen, but it's really not going to affect me in the end. I'll either just tell you how it is, which the same way all my clients have done with me if I ever acted out of line, which never, but like there's been disagreement. There's okay to be disagreement. There's okay to, but if your ego is too big for who you are, then we have to fix that because there's thousands of planets and galaxies and stars all around us, and they don't revolve around you.
Right.
I have that issue, like in my particular skill set in my field of profession, which Nell's probably gonna start laughing.
The butcher.
But when I get like
he slaughters cows for a living.
Motherfuckers that come in the beginning, me and my boss, we just hone in on them. We're like, okay, you got the ego. You think you nice? All right. So I step back.
You think you can just stab a pork?
And I go, this is wrong, that's wrong, that sucks, and I hold in on you bad, and then I want to break you. I want to break you so that way you're gonna be like, okay, you know what? I ain't the tough shit, and I can't deal with egos. Like I laugh. Like if somebody came to me popping that big shit, oh yeah, I'm the big dog. I'm gonna be like, okay. Big dog where?
Show me what you got.
Where you, and then I'll listen to your music and be like,
Oh, it's even worse. But before I say what we gotta say, I'm not throwing shots at any of my artists by having of this conversation because and everyone is completely humble. I'm not, cutting ass on them completely. But
you're talking about artists in general. That's all.
I'm talking about artists in general in this situation because it's if your music is trash and you're still acting like a fucking diva, get the hell out of my face.
Word.
I'd rather sit here honestly and get ditched by I'd rather be ditched by this kid who has better music and at least like a better following than Joe Schmo from the projects, which I got nothing wrong with people coming up from the projects because I live a couple of blocks away from it. Okay, I went to the worst high school in Queens. Like I've done my shit and I know where it came from. But you're not gonna sit here when you haven't invested in yourself, invested that time, and then tell me what the fuck I should be doing with you.
Yeah.
Because then what's the point of paying for a service?
Exactly. That's the whole thing. That the reason why you have your position is for a particular reason. An artist is an artist. They know their craft, but a lot of them don't know the business portion of the industry. That's when they hire someone like you to do that portion of their work for them, right? Or an entertainment lawyer. If you're an artist, it's good that you should have knowledge a bit about the business side of it. But if you don't know nothing about it, just let the experts do their thing.
Or Google it.
Let Ivy Productions do her thing. Let GMG do their thing.
Like if you can't afford services, it is okay. Yeah. But you need to sit down and talk to people saying, yo, I can't do this right now, but maybe I could pay you in so and so and so and so. Yeah. Or if you want just a consultation, because consultations are free. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, it doesn't hurt to have a conversation is what you could do better. But if you can, you too embarrassed to do that, okay, ask me. Where can I look this up? All right, well, you could check here, you could check here. I'm always sending A, Live, Ray, and Mikey both different things that they could do that could better themselves so they could get a better reach. Because an artist right now, and especially in the digital era that we are in, and what we're forced to be confined in because of COVID, is you need to make sure you're on that social media all the time, that your reach is always up. If you have to do a live video once a week or whatever the case may be, then that's fine. Post a little bit, go talk to someone. Even if you don't want to talk to them, just put a fire emoji. All of that in the algorithm, especially on Instagram, it will add up.
Yeah, it will. It will. The more active you are, the
more they see you.
The more they see you, and then Instagram automatically sends people your way too.
Like if
you'll become like a trending subject in Instagram.
I've had a lot of people come and go through my page, and people will come in that I don't even know, and they'll stay for a while and then bounce.
Like I know that there's so for the live, right? And don't quote me on the amount of time that you're on, but like if you're on like 5 minutes and you get X amount of people, then they keep pushing it out, right? But if you have a low threshold on your live, it's just going to stay like that because they don't see enough people, or you're not generating yourself enough for more people to tune in, and then they can spread it to people around the world that follow your same content. So like let's say Dinner at the Round Table is live right now, right?
Yeah.
And let's say 2 people on your gram viewing you, for an example. If within that time frame it doesn't reach, let's say 20, they kind of just put your live on the back burner.
I see.
Compared to everyone else's.
Yeah, definitely, because they look for the most the bigger feeds to basically publicize them on their feed on their platform. I definitely see what you're saying. And that's definitely how it works. on Instagram. The algorithm for live feeds is like that. You have to have a certain amount of people tuning in, and they automatically publicize your stuff without you even needing to.
But seeing, even with the algorithm, it's not really an algorithm. It's just common sense in the end of the day.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
really, they made it, they tricked you all out. They tricked people out to think it was this big, giant secret that you literally had to pay for followers. No, you really don't gotta pay for followers as long as you stay active. If you do it the slow and gradual way, like normally it's not ideal, but if you're just starting, or at least on the digital side, you're just starting, you could have a resume and have the best mixes or the best raps and the best whatever. Like you did your groundwork in the traditional terrestrial way. But when it comes to this, like you're still kind of new. Okay, you build that up gradually, or you get that one person that fucks with your shit, and then they post it, and then their friends will post it, and that's how everything goes to the way it's supposed to be. But no fucking secret Morse code that you have to do in order to get a better following.
Absolutely. I was reading this article on social media experts, and they were saying that the minimum that you should post a day is twice the minimum, but you're supposed to post anywhere from like 4 to 5 postings a day just to keep yourself generating on the Instagram feed, so that they can help you. So Instagram automatically starts helping you once they see that you're making like progress and posting a lot.
Yeah, once you have traction.
Yeah, with your attraction, exactly. Yeah, your insights go up, your reach goes up. People forward your videos more.
I mean, I personally, I post if it's related to what the fuck I'm doing, pretty much.
Yeah, absolutely. Whatever it is, as long as you post at least twice a day, that's when you stay active.
Yeah, because 4 or 5 times a day, and then at the peak times, which have changed, because people used to say you could post at 7 a.m. I'm sorry, 8 a.m., 12 p.m., 3 p.m., 6 p.m., and 9 p.m. during the week, right?
What are the peak times now?
To tell you the truth, I still am trying to figure that out. But like, if you look on Instagram, right, and this is like a hack for everyone. So if you go on Instagram, I'll go on my Ivy page, and you click Insights. When you go to content interactions, your peak time show when people are tuning in. So
I see.
If people are interacting with my thing the most on like Saturdays at 5 o'clock, someone else's interactions could be like Monday at 2. So you kind of need to now figure out your peak time based on when your audience goes on.
I see. But also, what not only your audience, but also the majority of audience on Instagram, because there's certain peak times where just the general public gets on.
Like it would be more afternoon times, because families now are taking care of their kids in remote learning, or picking their kids up from daycare, or they're just working from home now.
Yeah.
So instead of it being, I will get up at 7 in the morning and go to work, and I'm gonna go flip through whatever or listen to the radio. That all changed. So everything is now more towards the afternoon, like anything after like 2 o'clock.
Yeah. I mean, me doing my research, what I found was that the morning 8 a.m. is great. Then it's dead up until noon.
Yeah.
Then at 4 p.m. it goes from 4 to 5 is lit. Then at 7:30 to 9 o'clock is very important too, because people are like just about to go eat or something, to lay down and just chill while they're eating, and they look on Instagram where they eat.
Or they could watch dinner at the round table. I'm just saying.
Oh, they go watch dinner at the round table.
I'd rather do that.
That's the reason why we do our show at 7:30, because we used to do it on we used to go on Sundays, primarily because Sundays, Sundays is like a chill day, a Sabbath day. Most people are home just chilling, and actually having dinner with their family, right? So the time was very important, and upon doing research, I figured out that 7:30 was a real good time, because it transcends from 7:30 to 9 p.m., where most people are just either watching TV, having a plate of food, and also on their phone. Most people are on their phone while they're watching TV, and they're scrolling through Instagram. So that was upon doing my research from 7:30 to 9 p.m. is a very crucial time on Instagram. Yep.
I believe. I believe.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. If you notice, like, even like even big celebrities, like you'll notice that if they post at a certain time, they get more views versus when they don't. So these are things that are actually like statistics, like they actually keep track of this thing, and it fluctuates, it changes depending on what's going on in the world too. So like during the pandemic, those have been the key times. But before the pandemic, there were other key times, like you said earlier. It
Yeah,
changed.
everything has changed lately.
Yeah.
You know, it's a different climate. First of all, like in an emotional sense, in a business sense, like you have to. First of all, if you thought you had to be more conscious, had to be conscious of what you're posting back then, before the COVID and before everything happened, you definitely have to be more cautious of what you post now. Because God forbid you post something like I saw a meme, a Dragon Ball Z meme where Biden was Vegeta and Trump. No. Biden was Goku and Trump was Vegeta, and he blew him way out of the water, like in the meme for the election. And then someone posted it, and someone commented like some like cake racist shit, and it was so bad. I'm like, all of this because you're sensitive because Trump lost. Like everything you do nowadays, not only you have to double check just because of professionalism, but you gotta check that you're not offending no one.
Yeah, there is censorship now on Instagram.
So
On
annoying.
Twitter, there's a lot of censorship because I remember the other day, not too long ago, not the other day, the artist, by the way. Hey, shout out to the other day artist.
Shout out to the other day.
The artist, producer.
Known as the other day.
DJ. He doesn't like to be called DJ, but he's on the turntables. But anyway,
Faded Radio.
Faded Radio
at 9, Twitch, Instagram Live, Facebook, and YouTube.
I'm charging you a blunt for this advertisement, okay, buddy?
Yo, make that two. Make
two
that
blunts,
two.
Word, two, double it. But anyway, on Instagram. So they're very big on censorship now. The anti-bullying thing, they're really big on that.
They also sent, so during the election, I don't know if you noticed, right? But hashtags, like you know how you used to find something by the hashtag?
Yeah.
It got disabled. Because they saw
certain words.
No, everything got disabled.
Really?
Everything got disabled because my homegirl from Bell Cosmetics, she showed it to me.
We didn't experience that on our end because our hashtags were still flowing.
No, there should have been a notification because it was a worldwide shut off.
Oh, really? I never like, noticed.
Only because of the election, they said. I'm like, but what does, let's say, lipstick? Like she was telling me, what does lipstick have to do with the election? Why is it that? Yo, but it's a fact though, because then I went and checked, right? And I'm like, what did this guy rapping have to do about the election?
Exactly, you're right.
You know, I'm just trying to promote my shit.
Right.
You know, but Zuckerberg, whatever the hell his name is, bought Facebook and all of this, and ever since then, everything was a giant freaking censor fest.
Yeah, because Facebook owns Instagram, they own WhatsApp,
and Snapchat.
They own Snapchat. Do they own Twitter? Yeah, the Twitter's separate.
No, please, I hope not. I like talking crap on Twitter.
Oh my god, Twitter is probably the least censored. They started censoring not too long ago too.
Like Twitter is my playground.
Yeah, listen, I made a comment on a friend of mine. She's a female. She's always like, you know, she's like a diva. She's always talking about how beautiful she is.
Oh Lord, not one of them.
So yeah. So that's who she is, and I love her for being like that because she actually is a beautiful lady, right? Or girl, whatever you want to call it. But the whole thing was that I sometimes play around with her, and I tell her, "Oh, look at you, you ugly today. Like, stop playing, you're ugly." And I said that, "Stop playing, you're ugly."
Yo, you trying to die? You never tell a woman she's ugly.
No, but that's like we joke around like, "Hey, ugly," like, you know what I mean? Like she's like,
somebody
you know, I'm not ugly, dude. I typed that and I sent it as a comment, and I got flagged by Instagram, not by her, by Instagram. Hey, That's inappropriate language. Are they? What the fuck? Like, where's their freedom of speech at? This is crazy.
Oh no, the First Amendment is long gone. I don't care what nobody says.
Like
if
social media is censoring people now. That's insane. Because it was a lot of a lot of people go on Instagram and they troll hard. And there's people that's actually lost their lives behind that.
I mean, no, of course, and it's as someone that was bullied when they were younger.
Yeah.
I hate seeing what happens to some of these kids, right? Like, I think was it 2 years ago, the poor kid at Rutgers got caught having sex with another gentleman, and they made fun of him so hard he went on social media and hung himself. A guy got shot during the COVID by a police officer, and everyone was sharing that like it's okay. Like, what are we doing? But they didn't censor those videos, though.
They did it because they weren't on it yet. Like that kid Junior that died in the Bronx, that got killed by the gang members. His video of him like holding his neck in the entrance of the emergency room, like he was. Remember that video, Chris Ryder?
Yeah, I remember it.
The kid Junior, he's holding his neck, and he's just like his neck is just gushing out blood, and the cops are there just looking at him like they're not doing anything. I'm like, that's why I'm not anti-cop, but fuck the police, fuck 12. But
I mean,
they were right there. They weren't even helping the kid, bro. But anyway, the whole thing is that particular video went super viral, and the other one when the guys pulled them out the store and stabbed them. So I mean, it became
I think that
such
whole story was crazy.
But that became such a big thing of people sharing like gory content, right? Gory stuff on Instagram, that they made it an issue where.
Come on, Nelly. It goes back to even. So you remember DJ Jinx Paul from La Mega?
Yeah, of course.
So when Jinx got killed, there was
the car ran him over,
the car ran him over, right? And there's a whole video of the car running him over, and the photo shows the two females.
Yeah.
But yeah, you not only arrested the woman's boyfriend the first time when he confessed, right?
They let him go too.
You let him go, and then you pick him up again based on the evidence of the car. But then again, the camera shows two women in the car. Unless you just look like a female, but like we're putting these things viral and we're not doing nothing about it. This is why all the stuff with Black Lives Matter, like they're putting all these things virally, but instead of us doing something about it, I don't want to say peaceful, and I don't want to say have a big protest and blow things up, because I'm not for violence, but I'm also like, I'm for you getting the justice you need. But don't be putting shit out on social media and then nothing fucking happens from it.
Yeah. So, Chris, what do you think about that, Mr. Quiet Belly over there?
Yeah, I thought y'all never quiet.
Listening to you guys, you're right about that.
He's thinking about cutting some meat tomorrow at work. He's a butcher.
There's the fat that comes in that I told you.
But you gotta be careful, man. You don't cut the wrong meat though.
Yeah, I know, right?
Very fluffy. Has a
lot. You don't cut your own meat.
No, you're right about that. There's so many things have gone viral that there's nothing that's happened to it. But I feel like people should always look at both sides of the story. A lot of times the media censors certain things to put the narrative that they want. So like I gave an example on this podcast show before, like if me and Nelly were to get into a fight, somebody can post me being the victim, but yet I'm the one who started it.
Yeah.
They
can
see that.
They can edit their videos to make it seem like you're the victim.
For me, I've really being put on so much information that I've been put on. It's made me change my mindset a lot and see things in a bigger scale.
Yeah.
So, perception, being a publicist, you know that
the
perception that you want to generate for your artist is very important.
Oh no, of course.
And the media has a lot to do with controlling and programming people into the story they want to portray. So you can ask somebody about the situation, and if I'm a sympathized character, they're gonna sympathize with me. But if you ask them why are you sympathizing with them, they can't answer that.
But you know why that is, Chris? So in the media, and I have like one example I could perfectly give you guys.
The media expert is go.
The media, so media is the way it is now because of the last 50 years alone. The point of traditional journalism and advertisement completely changed. Okay, we went from advertisers paying us to report everything the ethical way, and then you have today's society where they want whatever the shock value. So if you go back and think of you remember in Connecticut the Sandy Hook school where the kids got shot.
The shooting, yeah.
So the Washington Post, and I remember this because I did a presentation on ethics for my school. They took the information about the shooter, saying that the brother was there, this and that, just so they could be the first people to put it out. So they went and said that the police officer said that the brother was there and the brother killed himself and the mother did this and the mother was a teacher at the school and that's why the kid shot up the school, right? The mother had no recollection, like no physical hard evidence that she was connected to that school in any way. You know, and that is the point, like the newspapers, the radio stations, they all want to they don't care. I don't want to say they don't care because that's harsh, but they will go and see whoever gets that soundbite first.
And that's where I think that people like, that's where I get upset about. It's like, oh, this and that and the third, and I'm angry about this. Okay, but did you see the entire story? Did you see why that happened? I'm gonna give you a perfect example of how the media portrays it in a negative light. So have you guys ever seen the movie 61 about Roger Maris and Mickey Mantle?
Yes,
really good movie.
I've heard of it, but I didn't see it.
So
it was their road to 61 home runs.
The road to 61. So and in the movie, Mickey Mantle, Roger Maris, they were on the same team and they were competing to get the who gets the home run record, because they were like neck and neck. So Mickey Mantle tells Roger, he's like, listen, you got to play the game. If you don't play the game, then they're going to come after you. So there's a part where they're going into the stadium and Roger Maris grabs a baseball from a kid, signs an X on it as a joke, completely harmless. So he gives the ball back. So before he can sign it for real, security takes him away. So the parents like, oh, Roger, you're an asshole. Fuck you, you piece of shit. I mean, he didn't say it like that because that was, And then the newspaper destroyed Roger Maris because that was the sexy story. And all of a sudden, everybody hated Roger Maris.
Yeah.
Now, did Roger Maris do himself favors? No. But they went and attacked him and they didn't give the truthful story. And it programmed people into hating him. And they couldn't tell you why they hated him.
Yeah, they couldn't.
But they painted Mickey as the greatest thing in the world. And, he even said that he I think he hurt his knee or something like that. And the media attacked him then. And he's like, from that point on, it's like, or whenever the media, a ball player doesn't want to talk to the media, they attack him for this and that. Jordan the same way. Jordan was the media darling. All of a sudden, he didn't want to do it anymore. He started to attack him. And that's just, to me, that's why I hate the media so much. In that they push that they want.
The media is gonna push the sexiest story out, and some people, some journalists, right, are very into the culture of actually telling the truth. Yeah. But then you have the chief editor that they have to report to, that even if they have a real story, he's like, you know what, that doesn't, that's not sexy. That's not sexy. Yeah, he's gonna say that's not sexy. That doesn't sell. Change it up a little bit. Say this, say that, and change this part and change that part. And this is what's gonna work. That's how we're gonna sell it. So even
happened with Saquon.
even if you're a genuine journalist, the minute you go to your chief editor, he's gonna make changes anyway. There's been times I've heard stories from journalists that they give the chief editor their version of what the real version of what happened, and the chief editor says, okay, we're gonna release it just like that. Don't worry. The next day they wake up and the headlines are completely different than what they wrote. So the editors sometimes trick the journalists too.
But you know what though, Nelly? You said it right there too, because it's not just about the stories and it's not just about like placement in the media. If I was let me give you an example. Like me, for me to get where I was in this industry, because let's be real, Nelly's met me. I'm a little thickums. I got a little extra in the front area, and I'm okay with that. I love food, so I'm definitely not apologizing for it. But people, especially me, because I've worked not only with the Latin community, I work in the urban hip hop community. So me as a woman, I got strikes against me because I'm fat. I got strikes against me because I'm white. And I got strikes against me because even though I have an education, because I like I said, I'm an introverted extrovert. So that works against me because you could try to spit game to me, but I know you talking bullshit, so I'm not following your shit. And I choose to not conform to what this community or whatever you want to call it in New York have you desensitized to me. So I always have to fight and claw and tooth and whatever, even at the status that I'm at now. You always got to keep fighting in order so you could fit the so-called model of the media.
Yeah,
Right
absolutely.
Completely right about that.
Yeah, the media.
They don't do their research, man. They don't look at both sides of the story. I learned a very long time ago that perception does not, like, for me personally, like when people meet me for the first time, they think I'm mean, they think I'm an asshole, they think I'm like this fucking terror. But
Is that true? Is that true, Katie? You think he's a killer?
See, I can't say that because I've seen the podcast.
But I have like because most of the time I have like a very like straightforward, like,
I won't lie. I got scared of Nelly when I first saw him. Like when he first started following me, only because I'm like, yo, he's got such a seriousness to him.
But you realize it's not the case at all. It's like,
no, not at all. Not at fucking all.
And then I tell people that all the time. It's like the perception doesn't fit the reality, because then when people get to know me, they realize I'm a very nice guy. I'm a very caring person. If I'm going to have your back no matter what. If you cross me.
Oh, no, you look like you can mess somebody up.
But
and now that I know you're a butcher, it's even worse.
I don't try to go violent.
You can cut your balls off.
Yo, dead ass though.
But in reality, people think that way. And then, that's why I chose very long time ago not to judge a book by its cover, because you don't know what the pages, you don't know what the words on the pages is.
Oh, I say that all the time, especially now. Like, I could say I have an issue with someone from 5 years ago, right? But I'm not that same person. So if I see you again and I have a different perception of you, it's like, damn, why didn't I realize this from the start? Sometimes people just, they conform, they believe what they want to hear.
No, and sometimes people show their representative person too at first, not who they really are. So that might be that too. It might not be your fault that you're not reading the signals. They might just be using a persona or a fake image.
Oh yeah, no, that's another fact.
Like a representative person, like when you're going on a date with somebody first time, they're using their representative person. They're trying to sell themselves to you.
The mirror image, like it's like your elevator pitch. Like if you go on a date or go present yourself in any type of thing, it's like there's always that one persona. And then it's like the next, so it's like chilling with someone the next few times after, like, okay, so now I gotta start showing you my real self. How is that gonna go? Like, are you gonna like me? Because I like to sit around in basketball shorts chilling, man. Like, I'm not as stuck up as y'all think I am.
For sure. But listen, there's this, just to give you a prime example. You guys remember that Michael Jackson documentary?
This is me.
And he had Maury secretly recorded on the side. He had his own cameras like hidden, like recording. So there was this journalist that was this very popular. He's British. He's like a British Bollywood like looking guy, like like an Indian guy, right?
Mhm.
But he's British, right? He's an Indian descent. And he did he's very famous, a journalist. I forget his name, but the whole point was that he did a very like one-on-one interview with Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson accepted it because he thought that he was a great journalist, whatever. And he actually let him come into Wonderland, right? Is it Wonderland?
Yeah,
Neverland.
Wonderland, Neverland, right?
Mhm.
Neverland. And Michael Jackson was very like that was sacred to him. Like he never really let any journalist really interview him there like that. And he never let himself be exposed like that. He did it with him, but he knew how the media works. He had Maury from the Maury show actually bring his team of people, and they were hidden the whole time. The journalists didn't know that they were there. So when he released his version, it was so edited, and so many things were edited. Michael Jackson's voice was like edited in certain parts, and then Michael Jackson released a public statement, and he said, "You know what? That's not the real interview. I have the real interview." And Maury backed it up because Maury was actually the one, like filming it with his crew, and they released a real version. It was like a big controversy. I don't know if you guys remember that.
I remember something along the lines because that was before he died.
Before he died, yeah, and the whole thing was that the journalist he spinned it to what the public already had thinking of Michael Jackson, that he was a rapist or child molester, this, that, and the third. He was wacko, jacko, whatever, wacko, jacko, right? And Michael Jackson knew that already, that this guy was probably was gonna do that. So he safeguarded himself by having another team of cameramen there hidden record the same.
Oh no, of course, and that's what's sad though, right? Because someone like of Michael Jackson's prestige, okay, like if you go and look into his story, like that man was terribly tortured when he was younger because his father and like no, not his father, his mother was a Jehovah Witness, and his father was just an overall terrible person. Did wild things to them, like raped them, abused them, So while they talking about Papa Joe being this great guy, the documentaries and everything show that he was a monster.
Yeah.
So how can you expect I know everyone makes a clean break from their past. But someone that had been through the trauma that he went through and he tried his best, but it got to the point where he struggled with his identity. He got all that plastic surgery. Like that is a lot on a person.
Yeah, but people don't know that he got that surgery because he had an actual health condition.
The vitiligo.
People was like, "Oh, he's just trying to be white." No, he actually had a condition.
I mean, he had a skin condition, but all those surgeries probably weren't all that necessary.
Well, he did get cosmetic surgery to look a little bit like more refined, but his color, his pigmentation, that was a health issue, and people were spinning it because of the media. The media was spinning it to be that he was trying to be like a white guy.
No, that's on
purpose. Wasn't that the whole thing with Michael Jackson? Remember? Oh, he's trying to be white.
Yeah, no, everyone
he actually had a health condition.
But he's the one person that did it because he actually needed to do it for his health.
And not only that, you know why he had the cosmetic changes of his face? He was filming a Pepsi commercial. And when Michael Jackson had the curly hair?
Yeah.
With all the to get curly hair like that, I'll tell you this much. I come from a Dominican background. All my uncles have the curly gel, all those, and Puerto Rican background too. Puerto Rican, Dominican. They had those jerry curls, and for you to get those jerry curls, you had to use some crazy hair products. I'll tell you that much. So I know Michael Jackson probably had the top of the line shit. So he was filming a Pepsi commercial, and they had like these lightings right on top of his set, and there was a power outage, and when the stuff came back on, it kind of like threw sparks of fire, little sparks, and they landed on his hair. That's flammable. Those products are flammable, and it burned his scalp practically. Yeah, it burned his skull and some of his face. So he had to get cosmetic surgery, regardless, because his face is ruined a little bit. This is Michael Jackson, like the top artist in the world. He has to, so he had no choice. So not only was he going through a health condition, but on the Pepsi commercial, he actually experienced an injury that he was forced to cosmetically make changes to his face. But what happened? The media and the media twisted it to say, oh, Michael Jackson's trying to be white or he's trying to refine himself. He doesn't want to be black. You got to be shitting me.
See, and that's what I don't like too. Like, I can
That's the
understand
real side. That's the real story.
I could believe that Michael Jackson did not do it for that reason. I believe that's why Lil Kim and Robinson Cano is doing that with the skin bleaching.
Robinson Cano's doing that too. I thought it was Sammy Sosa.
Sammy Sosa, I'm sorry. I was thinking,
Sammy Sosa, he has a cream that he actually developed. Like he has a team of cosmetology people, right, that developed this because he has money, obviously, so he was able to get it done. And it's a deep bleaching cream. So you go through a 90-day cycle and your skin starts getting lighter.
Man, first of all, I'm white as fuck. I can never tan. I wish I had some goddamn melanin in me in order to get some type of tan. And I see these people skin bleaching to be as white as me, and I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Why?
It's insane, but the reason why I said that story about Michael Jackson is perfect example. Michael Jackson was like a target. They loved him, but at the same time they hated him.
Oh yeah, no, that was like America's gem for so long.
Yeah, imagine being the most famous human being on the face of the earth while you're alive, and also one of the
when you're dead.
No, yeah, when you're dead, and also one of the most famous human beings that ever existed in the history of the world is Michael Jackson. You know what I mean? He's one
and Prince.
Yeah, he's probably top 40 most famous humans that ever existed, along with Jesus Christ and all these, those ancient guys, whatever. So imagine that. People are gonna hate and love you at the same time. The media did a big part in making people hate him.
I mean, the internet stays undefeated. Like right now, I bet you all say you hate Trump, right?
Yeah.
For all of the stuff, but his memes will fucking excite you, right? If someone went, and I swear to God, I hope we don't get caught off by saying this, knock on wood, someone tries to take a sniper at Trump before Inauguration Day, right? For Biden, the whole world is gonna be like, their first thing, fuck Trump, this and that. But oh my God, Donald Trump,
they killed him. People,
he's the new enemy of the media. He's the new enemy of the media, and people. They hate him, and because they paint him as something.
You love. The thing is, Donald Trump is one of those personalities that you hate to love him.
He don't do himself no favors. He really doesn't. And if sometimes he just needs to shut the hell up, but the media will twist and prod and edit and put things here to make people hate him because they don't want this particular person. He's the new focal point.
It's and like when they talk, like it either I've noticed social media and the media just for the last couple of years, right? The two people that's been consistently trolled is Trump and Kanye West. And sometimes that white chick that makes fun of Cardi. I forgot her name.
Yeah, no, he's talking about Man, what the fuck is his name?
So without those three, there's not like a lot of trolling.
You're right. And listen, man, then
once Trump is out of office, then who are they gonna troll?
They'll find somebody else. They always do.
No, they still listen, man. I'm telling you, once he's out of office, he's gonna get his own podcast and he's gonna say, "I thought you got rid of me." And then he still has his Twitter, so it's not like Trump is going nowhere. He just won't be our president.
He can run again in 4 years. He ain't going nowhere.
Listen, first of all, man, if you had to really vote for somebody that headlined WrestleMania and shaving Vince McMahon's head off, like, nah, bro. Like, that's a dub on my end. Like, you use Bobby Lashley to go up against Umaga in WrestleMania 29, bro. Like, that's a dub. That's a whole dub for me. I can't vote for that for a first term, let alone a second term.
But this is we got put with two people that You know, it's like it's crazy. You know, Biden's gonna talk all this stuff. I'm the savior. You know, I'm
He's not
gonna
gonna
do
do
this,
nothing. He's not gonna do nothing.
I
and
mean,
then
but
a year
in the
later,
do
it's gonna
these
be this,
politicians do anything?
and it's gonna be a year later, and it's gonna be the same thing, and people are gonna be like, "Oh, why we voted for Biden?" You know, we
Yep.
thought he was gonna
Oh, yeah. They're gonna be
I mean,
disappointed. I tell
every time.
yeah. I
listen,
tell you one thing. Biden's actually the one that's been on record actually being a racist compared to Trump. Like Trump, people say that he's a racist because he wanted to put up the wall, blah blah blah. But he has a very good history within the black community, particularly with black entrepreneurs.
that's because he
And
put Kanye on.
wait, no. Way before in the 80s and the 90s. And I'm not a Trump supporter, and I don't idolize him at all. Like I really don't. But
Sympathize.
I'm a realist, and I'm gonna look at the facts. He actually dated his girl. He had a black girlfriend for 2 years that he dated. It was his main squeeze.
Yeah, but he also
And a lot of black
voted for twice.
entrepreneurs in the 80s and the 90s, they weren't getting the funding from the banks because of the color of their skin or whatever the case is.
People are still not getting their funding because
He was no, but wait, Trump was one of those rich white men that actually financed their businesses. That's why Trump was so famous in the hip hop industry because Trump this, Trump that, because he had good ties with the black community. All of a sudden, the liberal media shits on him because he turns Republican.
you know.
Because Trump was Democratic at one
Well,
point.
he does
Yeah,
look
right?
bad for that because he
He
did.
was a Democrat at one point.
He was a Democrat, and he went on. So I remember seeing a video clip of this where Trump was on Oprah back in the days. Like, remember when Oprah used to be on?
Yeah, I seen that interview. That interview is epic.
So he goes and talks about how he would never be a Republican. He'll never run for president. But look, the Simpsons predicted him running for president, not even staying in office.
But he also said back in the day, he said, "I'm a Democrat, but if I'm going to run for president, I'm going to run Republican." And it's crazy because a lot of rich motherfuckers are Democrat.
Yeah.
A lot of them. And then,
yeah, but those Democrats at least believe that the lower class should get something, while the Republicans,
that's not even,
unless you were liberal.
The thing with the Democrats, and then I used to be a heavy Democrat, and then I realized a little while ago that they will spit a narrative to you and say, "We're gonna do this for you. We're gonna take care of this. We're gonna do this," and then they don't do a damn thing.
But that's all politics. Because look, man, I don't know how Biden and Kamala would be, even though I am happy that there is a woman in the second highest position in the world. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, be as it may that she's a little clueless in certain things because Tupac is long dead and she still wants to say he was alive. Like,
Kamala.
Like,
Tupac still lives, baby, in our fucking hearts and minds.
Yeah, listen, but I do feel like they will do something. But in reality, all of our candidates, if you go back even towards Clinton, there's reports of him and Hillary killing people over some real estate stuff, right? Bush Jr. was corrupt as all fuck. He came after Greece to drill for oil during the Olympics. He tried to stop the Olympics. He came after Iran. He came after all these countries. He was forewarned. Him, Clinton, about 9/11. Y'all didn't do shit about that. 3,000 people died. Okay.
Yeah, there's a popular conspiracy theory that says that he let that happen because he had a stake in military companies, and he stood to profit over the war. That's why he allowed it to happen. That's the conspiracy theory.
That's the conspiracy theory, but whatever the case may be, 3,000 people died.
What is a conspiracy theory? A conspiracy theory is just most of the time is just like the government officials or trying to debunk the truth. That's what most of conspiracy theories end up being the truth.
But that's why you have this little group of people that end up forming this so-called Illuminati because of all these conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, let me ask you a question. Is it really all a conspiracy?
It's not.
Because it just seems black and white. You've put these questionable people into office. I mean, look, even with Obama, he started, like, Trump might have been okay with this divide and encouraged it, but it started after like Obama's term, during Obama's term, but it was more peaceful than it was right now.
Exactly.
You know, I
You have
realized
to understand too. People were desperate during the pandemic too. People was like lost hope, so that added like fuel to the fire too. That they wanted Trump out of office.
I mean,
of
it
that.
also doesn't help that you have a president that supports the KKK and starts killing people in Charlotte either.
No, he
Trump
doesn't support the KK. He actually
does not
made a
support
bill.
the KKK.
He
He's
made a
actually
bill to dismantle them.
announcing that shit. That's a media
Yeah.
fabrication.
Got you, Katie. They got you. The media got you.
How do you say they got me though if the father was part of the KKK?
He was part of the KGB, which is different.
Yeah,
Russian.
I can pull up videos,
not KKK,
but about that. So that's
KGB.
Even I could be wrong.
That's the biggest media deception, is that shit. Because people say, oh, but he has white supremacists in his rally. My brother told me that there's videos of him kicking out racists for being at his rally. Yeah. This is not what we're doing. We're about unity, but the media portrays a different aspect to him.
I mean, but then you also gotta remember.
Remember the planning bill was gonna dismantle the KKK Antifa. That was.
But let me ask you a question though, right? If we're really gonna talk about how he's not completely a racist, when everything came up with MS-13, and he's like, I'm gonna get rid of everyone in MS-13, but then he's talking about building the wall after. What does one have to do with the other?
But that wall was intended to combat the cartels, because if you do your research and you know anything about the borderlines, that shit is an actual war zone. And these are these are dudes that are not firing little handguns. No, they're 30 caliber machine guns, grenades, missile launches. That shit it's a war zone. So his biggest mistake was, instead of saying, I want to build a wall to keep the cartels out, the media then portrayed it and say, oh, I want to keep immigrants out. Then they started this whole attack on immigration. And then he didn't help himself doing certain things and implementing certain things. Like, I don't agree with him with his viewpoints on DACA. I feel like if you had dreamers that came into this country when they were infants, and if they're model citizens, they should automatically become citizens. Yeah. Automatically. Why in the world should this person have to fight to become a citizen if his life is here and he's a model citizen just like me, you, or anybody who's born here? That's the only thing that I think that he's wrong on. Other than that, that wall was specifically meant to attack the cartels because it's a war zone. But he didn't word it properly.
Yeah, what he said was, we're gonna make Mexico build it.
Yeah, and then
he never said
that was the worst part. And
but he never said fuck Mexicans. He just said, we're gonna make Mexico build it. The president of Mexico is gonna build it for us.
Ran with it
right away. Oh, he's a racist because
he's a racist. Mexico build it. And it's like, then that's where it's like, really? And then like I said, I hated Trump. I hated him. And then I would say, well, this is the case. And then my information will come out and say, no, this is not the case. It's never been documented. Oh, but this is what, and then that's when I began to realize what the media does when they go after somebody and that's their target.
Yep.
It don't matter if it's right or wrong. This person can actually be the one that's evil, but they'll paint them as the good guy, and people, because they were programmed to hate somebody. If you're hearing that you want to, let's say every day I wake up in the morning, it's hate, Mike. It's hate Mike.
Always.
You're gonna think that.
I'm gonna think, I'm gonna hate Mike. Yeah. And then when it's Jerry, who's the evil one, love Jerry. Every day.
It's usually those assholes that get the most love. Is the one that they put that face.
And then when you realize the one who was actually the evil one was Jerry instead of Mike.
Yeah, no.
At the end of the day,
and that's called. Yeah, go ahead.
If you even remotely defend Trump in any kind of matter, people attack you. Like,
you're a white supremacist, you're a hick, you're this, you're that.
How could you?
And that's because
an asshole. Yeah, but I'm a sympathizer. I'm not a supporter. I don't support him or anything.
I'm not a supporter.
Yeah. I didn't vote for Biden or him. I voted third party. I didn't want none of them in office, but I started to realize that you got to look at both sides of the story. You can't just think, okay, this is the way it is, because You have to answer. You have to answer this question to yourself. Why is it so prevalent that he's being attacked? Why is it? You have to question the why. You know,
Yeah.
and you have to
I
You know,
look.
just think he should have had better writers. Had
yeah.
he had better speech writers,
Do himself favors because he'll do a rally and they'll take a snippet that he'll say and then they'll paint it as, oh, he said something racist.
yeah, but come
Yeah.
on,
They'll edit
man.
it.
He didn't have the best public speaking skills.
I was gonna say. I was
His
gonna.
only problem. That was his only fault, and
Like that just
I
made
was
it
gonna
so
ask you.
much easier.
I was gonna ask you, Katie. You being a publicist and a public relations expert,
Yeah.
would have been a nightmare to have him as a client.
Oh God, we talked about that. I just sit here and I'm like, yo, his publicist or his guardian angel, right? Whoever is involved in his well-being is looking at themselves and shaking at their head on a daily basis. Because if it's not what he posts on Twitter, it's just what he's saying in the media. Like he just fired his chief. Was it the chief secretary today? Like he fired someone.
But you see, this is the thing that people don't understand also about Trump. Trump is a corporate guy. He was the first politician, non-politician
That will go into
that won.
this,
They got into the. So Trump is used to being in board meetings where he calls people out. He doesn't like their ideas. He tells them you're fired. He tells them, hey, that's stupid, that's retarded. We're not going with it. That language that he uses is because that's how the corporate world works, right? And also he's a New Yorker. So those two things combined make him seem like an asshole. And the thing that I loved about Trump was, even though I'm not his supporter, is that he was straightforward. He was getting what you wanted from him. You know what I mean? He's not there sugarcoating things and being a mass manipulator like the sweet talker Obama, which is a nice guy. Obama was a great guy. He's like he's a human being that you're like, yo, this guy is such a great guy. You can't hate.
that guy. You
cannot hate. Yo, Obama could have took us to World War III and we still would have loved him because he's genuinely a lovable person. But what I'm saying is that typically what we encounter in politics is a savvy person that knows how to talk, a good one, but then doesn't do what they need to do when they go into office. Trump was not that person. Trump was like, hey, shut the fuck up. This is how I'm going to do shit. Get the fuck out of my face. And people hate that. Yo, the world is so sensitive. We're living in a liberal, and I'm sorry if I get hate mail, but we're living in a super liberal, indoctrinated mindset. Because if you think about it, liberal states make most of the population.
But you know why that is, right?
Well, listen, liberal states hold most of the population in the United States, right? There's more liberals than there are conservatives in the United States. Everybody's so sensitive. You can't say anything anymore. So to have somebody who's bold and frank and old school like Trump, that hurted people. It hurted them. They were hurt that there was some guy telling him, you know what? You're a piece of shit. You don't know what the fuck you're doing. That hurted them.
Hated that.
Oh, you're not sympathetic. You're not sensitive. Shut the fuck up. That was not Trump doing.
That was
And people hated
that.
Republicans hated him. Republicans hated him. Democrats hated him, and anybody who was sensitive hated him. And he was just trying to restore like the American muscle because Obama went around apologizing to everybody. Oh, sorry we did this to you this year. No, when you're the superpower of the world, when you're the leader of the world,
are we really the leader anymore?
We're the example of the rest of the world. We're the first democracy in the Western Hemisphere. So
I mean, I could debate that with you because if you look at the statistics in Europe and how they're doing compared to the United States right now, it would tell you otherwise.
No, but generally, the United States is still the leader because the American currency controls the world trade, the trading in the world. So we still the world power in that sense. So for us to be apologizing for things that we did to promote democracy, that makes no sense. And that's what Trump was trying to do, but he was too bold about it. And again, like I said, I'm not a supporter of Trump. I never voted for him. I actually voted for Kanye when I went to the ballot.
You really voted? You really did?
I knew he wasn't going to win, but I was not going to vote. I wasn't going to vote for Trump or Biden. I just
Did you take a picture of the ballot?
I just want to just vote for somebody who was not them too.
And you know what? You know
Fucking
what?
Kanye.
No, you probably actually fucking made it. You probably said it in the best possible way you could ever say it.
Yeah.
And it actually makes all the sense now.
Yeah.
The way he was, and if you're not a strong human being and you're very sensitive, if somebody tells you that's not right, that's stupid, if you're straight up or blunt to that person, they're gonna shut down.
Yep.
They're oh my god, why are you talking to me this way? You're so, and we've gotten to that point where we just sensitive about everything. And Trump was the person that's saying, like you said, no, that's not happening. I'm not doing it that way. What you said was stupid. Moving on. We're wasting time here. People couldn't take that. I always tell people Trump lost his presidency because of the coronavirus and because of his mouth.
His mouth, yeah.
Oh yeah, no, the way he handled this COVID shit was so not good. No.
The whole thing.
But I mean, anybody, anybody would have handled it. It would have been hard for any president to handle it. It was
exactly, but his
situation.
His fault was that he didn't. It's to me, it's so tough, and I get mad when people say, "Oh, it's all on Trump. It's all on Trump." It was his fault, but nobody knew exactly how bad this thing was. China held a lot of information back. They didn't say nothing to nobody. In reality, if they would have shut it down early in Wuhan, we would have been fine. The whole city quarantine, then it would have been fine. But no, they kept their mouth shut. And Trump was like, okay, well, I don't think this is that bad. And it wasn't only Trump that underestimated. It was everybody did.
All of our governments underestimated it though. So I feel like that was just my bad for the entire country, because even though New York shut down right away, like people were still not shutting down until like weeks after.
Because everybody felt like it was in New York only. It was here. And the fact of the matter is that if you really look at the statistics and the numbers, outside of like 5 states, the numbers aren't that high in the country. It's the main, like New York, I think, has a very large, like.
No, we have the most. We had the most.
We have the largest population in the United States, right?
In New York, so New York had a lot.
Well, the United States reached 2 million COVID cases as of today.
Yeah, but
people who tested positive, but not deaths.
It's him. It's the Senate. It's Congress. It's the governors. It's all of them. It's on all of them. The blood is on all their hands. So to sit there and say that it's Trump's fault, I get it. He's the president. He's supposed to be the leader. Mm-hmm. He deserves as much fault as anybody else, but it's not all on him.
The different branches of the government. People don't understand that. Most people don't even know what the branches of government are.
Like, it's checks and balances in the end of the day.
Yeah, they don't know that. Katie, most people, I guarantee you, Katie, we go down to Times Square menu. As a matter of fact, we're gonna do a Raw Zone episode.
We're gonna do one of those episodes where we go with the camera.
Times Square, with the camera and the mic.
Like, how much do you know about the basics of American government? Do you know what the 3 branches are?
This is the first question we're gonna ask people. What year and day is an Independence Day? They won't know. Most people do not know. And what day we became independent.
They can't tell time on a regular analog clock, bro. They need to have digital clocks.
Yeah.
Like, are we joking right now? Like, I come from a strict Greek family, so if I didn't know my homework, I wouldn't get to touch anything. I didn't have the internet until I was like 17, 18 years old.
Yep.
I had like my first cell phone, I got it at 16. It was one of those goddamn little Nokias. Like, we learned, like, our generation, so anyone before 94 had the last years of learning how to do shit on their own.
Yeah, exactly.
To cook, to clean, to learn how to tell time, to tie your shoes without needing fucking Velcro. Like, we got to experience what life really was. Everyone after fell into I don't even know what you want to call it. That's where everyone got so sensitive. Everyone just wanted it easy. Like, they wanted shit handed to them, because the people that came after 94 and after, they got raised by parents that wanted to give them what they didn't have. Like, I'm not saying my mom didn't give me what she didn't have, she did. But I also learned how to work on my own.
Exactly.
That's
Those times were different.
Yeah.
And technology is beneficial to a certain extent. I'm gonna let you go, Chris, for now. But at the same time, it's detrimental because, for instance, Google, you have to see Social Dilemma. That shit is these are CEOs of these companies that actually created these apps that we use, particularly like Google and Facebook, whatever. And Google was built originally to just be like a search engine for people to look up facts. And there are a lot of facts on Google, but the Google search engine is an artificial intelligence engine. So eventually, a lot of the answers you get on Google is just some facts there. There's some articles that credible sources might put up, but a lot of it has to do with what answers to what you and I put in and what the rest of the public puts in. It's just building answers and responses based on what we type in. It has a mind of its own already. That's why a lot of these CEOs dropped out of office. They're not even there anymore because they're upset that they created something that they can't control anymore. But people resort to Google as a search engine for everything. Oh, I'm gonna Google it to make sure that you're not lying to me. And they go to Google and there's a fucking million different things, and then it generates one answer because that's what the popular demand is, right? And people go off of that and they think that that's the real truth. And sometimes that source is not even credible. It's just that 20 million people ask the same question. You see what I'm saying? So that's how bad it's gotten.
Like, I have 3 nieces and a nephew, and I fight with my cousin all the time because we always talk about how much screen time they should have. And if they don't get screen time, like, I love my niece Gianna, but she's still like in that 2 going on, like she's on that 3 going on 4, where you still got the terrible 2s, but if she doesn't have the phone to watch Adelie, she's gonna get upset and throw a tantrum. And I'm like, but did we have that stuff growing up? Because I don't want them to get into that age where they're not gonna know how to do the most basic of things. Because this remote learning is not helping. This remote learning is turning all these kids that are going into pre-K and kindergarten, turning them stupid, in my opinion. Because it's not the same education as if you were going to be sitting there.
No. If people continue going down that route, they won't even know how it is to experience shopping in the mall because they're shopping online.
I'm okay with that, though. I'm okay with that. I fucking hate going to the mall. You try going. First of all, I worked in retail as a kid because everyone had that retail job. And then you never want to even go to a mall on Black Friday ever again. Like, I'm okay with trying things on and returning it after ordering online.
Word.
Yeah, I mean, I always
try to use an interjection.
Ordering to be annoying because if something doesn't fit, then it's like a hassle to bring it back. And I've had such bad fucking like what was it? No, you were talking about you bought some sweats in his Wish and it was like a 2XL and then it was really a medium. So
yeah, it was crazy. It was made for the Chinaman, not for me.
It was made like super tight, but
yeah,
it's perception. As a publicist, it's like what really focus on was that perception of and how it's controlled to change what you feel about someone. You know, because me and Nell, we have a very similar mindset, and we're both realists. At the end of the day, we're gonna take information from both sides, and then we're gonna make the conscious conclusion.
Yes,
and we're not gonna be biased on it. Now, people will feel like we're supporters. Oh my God, he's talking, but they're not willing to do their own research and make the conclusion for themselves.
And if you show them the research, they deny it.
You show them, and it's like, I'm not gonna watch that. Why? I'm just showing you. You're saying he's never done it, but I'm showing you here. Oh no, it's not. But I'm showing you. So it's like people have gotten so lazy. The one thing about a concept that we've debated on this podcast forever, if you've heard it before, is the American dream.
Yep.
People feel like the American dream is you wake up one day and boom, you got
a business, you got $1 million, you got everything in the bank.
Yeah, but what
You
they
gotta
don't,
work hard for it, fuckers.
or if if you're an artist, they think that one day you wake up and you make a song and all of a sudden you're on the Billboard 100, you're selling thousands of records and then you're performing. But what they don't realize is that there's a whole bunch of hard work that goes into it. So when people see that there's hard work that's involved, that's when they're like, oh no, I can't, it's too much. Nell posted a video on the WhatsApp that we have with the podcast, where there was this immigrant who came from DR,
Mm-hmm.
worked
Oh
his
yeah.
ass off, created a restaurant in the most unlikeliest of places,
Yep.
and this guy is a success now. He has his own business. He's his own boss, and yet the work and the hard work that he has to continue to put in. People think that you make billions and millions of dollars and all of a sudden that's it. You're that's it. That's all you have to do. Jeff Bezos, one of the most successful human beings in the entire planet. People don't know how hard he's worked. They
Yeah.
just think about the billions of dollars that he's made that he hasn't reinvested, which is another conversation. But
No, of
they
course.
don't realize that you have to work until you're making money while you're sleeping. You have to continue to work and work and work and work and work. I think Diddy is a perfect example of somebody who will be up 3-4 days in a row, no sleep, because he's about making money, working hard, putting that time. And people don't see that shit.
Well,
Oh, the American dream is not real. No, it's real. You got to put your hard work in, bro.
yeah.
And every time somebody says that shit to me, I hit them with that shit and examples. We've had examples on this show about that shit.
People think people want handouts, bro, and some people are fortunate. Some people do get handouts because they're born into the right family or the right wealth, right? But most people are just born to be regular people, and you got to fight for what you want, bro. You have to work hard for the money. You
I mean-
can't, you got to sweat your ass off. You have to put in the work because life in general, the energy, the universe puts you in a position to do something. You work hard at it. The universe is going to repay you if you're being humble about it. Think about it. They do.
I come from a family of immigrants. So my mother came, she got her citizenship in the late 70s, and she ended up raising my two older cousins, helping my grandmother out. And through life, like she taught me, and between her and my uncle, may he rest in peace, they taught me to like really work. Like my uncle owned a garage over here that he made millions of dollars for the taxis. My mom didn't get her start until she was like in her like late 20s, like me, getting the gigs that she did, because all she had was not only her high school education, she only had half a semester of college on her belt in accounting. So for her to see how my uncle got into like millions of dollars and see how my mom did what she did, and I never sit here like and bask on what they gave me, because they did give me a good life. Despite everything I had to still go through, they did the best they could for me. But this whole concept of an American dream in my eyes is bullshit, because in the end of the day, we still have jobs while we run our businesses. Because in New York, you can't live without. This is what I learned. You can't live in New York without being two types of drug dealers, have two different hustles, have a job, and have a business on the side.
No. Right. And it's like, people don't understand the concept of that. People want everything given to them. People don't want to work hard for it. They just get infatuated with this false narrative or false reality of what life is, and it sucks. But that's why we're human beings. We're not perfect. Not everybody has the same concept of life.
That's why there's erasers on the pencils.
Yeah, man. So listen, Katie, it's been great having you on.
Thank you for having me.
Ivy Productions in the house, man. Publicist, media expert, public relations. If you need anything done, let's just drop your social media outlets so that people can contact you if they want your services.
So if you want to follow us for our services, follow us at Ivy Productions. If you're looking for photography, Follow us at KDK_photography XO. But more importantly, follow the team. Follow Ray Pearson, who just dropped with at It's Ray Pearson. Follow Live Johnson at Live Johnson 718. Follow Michael Bostic at _Heel Classic. We're on Raw Zone together on Tuesdays from 10 p.m. to 12 a.m. And of course, don't forget to follow the artist known as The Other Day at _The Other Day or at Faded Radio. Faded Radio is on Wednesdays at 9 p.m. on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, and Instagram.
Dope, man. So
and follow Nelly at dinner at the round table, and follow Mr. Ryder.
For sure, man. It was definitely great having you on. We spoke about a lot of different things, but the main dinner at the round table tonight, because dinner is food for our dinner here is food for thought, not physical food. Right? Food for
Even
thought.
though food sounds good right about now, I'm just.
I know, right?
You made me hungry with the chips, man. I'm like, damn. He's trying to get his munchie on. I'm like, here trying to like behave, be like a good person, not get hungry.
They look tasty, and the way that I was like,
they just like,
oh man, it's so great. But yeah, man, we did hit a lot of key points, and the reason why we were talking about media and the way that they portray certain things, is because that's the whole point. Public relations. Media has a very bad habit of relating to the public in a very sassy, sexy way with a false narrative.
And that's why we need to take. So we as humans and we as people need to take the narrative instead of letting the media control it, and now control it ourselves. That's why the independent has become so strong lately. You know, if someone like Drake, let's say, was to go independent, because at the end of the day, we don't need these people really controlling our narrative, especially now. We could put it through the social media and control it in our own way.
Absolutely. And because of that, we have on our show, we also have a final thought. So we're gonna let Drew start off since you're our guest. We're gonna let you do it first. Give your final thought today on our topic of the day, which is public relations and media. What are your final thoughts, Evie? Ivy Productions, for our listeners and viewers out there.
Do not let what the media dictates to you. We are in the age now where we could do it on our own. And if someone tells you differently, don't let that stop you.
Nice. That was great. Couldn't have said it better myself. Chris Ryder?
I've been pretty much like on a, not to say a tantrum, but it's just, I don't like false narratives. I don't like people being not given a fair shot to if you're gonna hate somebody, know why you hate them, and hate them for the right reasons. Don't hate them because somebody's telling you that this is what they did, and that's why you should hate them. I am a person who is for unity, period. Doesn't matter what you are, because I used to have this mindset, well, I don't like that person because of their race. Everybody fell into that. I don't care who you are. And if you sit there and say that you didn't, you're lying to yourself. Then I changed my mindset where it's like, okay, I don't like this person because it's them, not because it's what they are, what their race is or whatever it is. I hate you because of you, what you've done, because there's pieces of work in every single demographic. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But the media has always created such division on everybody. It's turning left versus right. It's turning liberal versus conservative.
Yeah.
It's fighting each other, and relationships being torn apart because of this divisional narrative, when in the end of the day, we are all Americans, and a person very close to me kind of said this to me, and it struck to me as like, we are all unified as Americans. And if I suffer, you suffer. We suffer together because we're all in this together.
In pain, we're united.
We're
but
all
else we're not.
We're Americans, so it shouldn't be Black people or Latino people suffer because that's just the way it is. No, we're all human beings at the end of the day, and unified and accepting people for who they are regardless of what they choose, because at the end of the day, it's their life. Who are you to tell them they can't live their life because that's not what you agree with?
Yeah.
Agree to disagree and be open to each other's perspectives, you know, and put the truth out there for what it is.
Absolutely.
You know, because the snakes in the grass are never the snakes you think they are. The snakes could be somebody you never would have thought was a snake, and all of a sudden, by the time you realize it's too late, you got the venom already and you're dead.
You've been hit with the mamba.
So I'm going to say this right now. I'm about the unification of everyone and equality for everyone.
Yeah.
I don't see left. I don't see right. I don't see conservative. I don't see liberal. I'm a realist. I see what the most important thing is unified throughout everyone. And the media has a very big part of that, in that division, creating that, because it's the divide and conquer mentality. It's what we've been fighting against for centuries in this country. Let's pit these people together to force them to not understand who the true enemy really is. And it's always been, throughout the history of the world, it's always been the rich versus the poor. Always. That's the real enemy here. You know, and until people understand that, then it's always going to be the same. It's never going to change.
Yeah, man. It was a great final thought right there from both of you guys. What I have to say is it takes 20 years to build a reputation, and it only takes 5 to ruin it.
No, it takes a minute to ruin your reputation.
No, you can ruin that shit in a heartbeat. You can say one bad thing. You could do good for 10 years, being a lifesaver, a miracle worker. 10 minutes, 5 minutes, you say the wrong thing, people are gonna look at you.
They'll mark you for life.
Because, like I said, the media, it's gonna stir things around and make people think that you're an asshole, right? Because you're telling the truth or you're doing something that's not to their agenda. So promote what you love instead of bashing what you hate. They're Not the Roundtable Podcast every Monday at 7:30 p.m. on YouTube Live. Ivy Productions in the house. Katie, thanks for coming on, man.
For having me, my love. This is so much fun.
We'll definitely have you back on again, and we'll see Ray Pearson come on soon, man. You already know what it is. Check out the Raw Zone on Mondays. You know what I'm saying? Tuesdays.
Wait, today is Monday.
Well, today's Monday. Yeah, you're right. For some reason, I was associating Monday Night Raw with your show. I'm bugging out.
I mean, I'm going to watch that right after I get off this, but, you know.
Tuesdays. So Tuesdays, check out the Raw Zone. You already know. And we out here, man. We out of here, man. They're Not the Roundtable Podcast. Check us out. Subscribe to our channel. The right-hand corner, we have the logo there. Just tap it and just become a fan of ours, please.
And if you don't, you're a dub.
You're a super dub. You already know, guys. Thanks for being on the show today. We had a great conversation. I'll see y'all next time, all right?
See ya.
Peace out.
Got an El Camino with them things on it too. Specking that 300. Money, cars, clothes, and hoes is all that make it complete, man. All that a nigga ever dreamed of and thought about since he was young.
Toast up with the salute. Rest the riches at a high pursuit. Glisten glamour fantasies as the prime view. Niggas see the TMC rockin' thug style. Bank rolls with the knots make it worthwhile. Marathon for a young nigga's dream. Racks in the middle really painting the scene. Skip the price paid when you lust that full drip. The only way we see the glass half full. Stay scheming for the gleaming. Shoot the money shot with the infrared beaming. Drop top and rolly watch match a nigga aura. At the bag get summed up a nigga morals for the glory, huh? Ball hard through the north, puff the skunk pound. Make a call on the bitch, see what's up now. Amongst the twos and fews, come follow me. Money, cars, clothes, and hoes, wanna keep them by the 3.
Making deposits. I don't really wanna let go of my years, my wallet. No matter how many times they try to stand in the way. Just know at the end of the day, that anyway, any day I get it, just know I'ma get paid.
These dreams from my OGs, regulating on the road to eat, proceed to YG. wild salute. Rest of riches at a high pursuit. Glisten glamour fantasies as the prime view. Multiply all duckets with the can. Burn Bay 11-fold, bended blocks in the bin.
It was triple beam dreams for my OGs. Regulating on the road to E, proceed to YGs. Multiply all ducats with the can. Burn Bay 11-fold, bending blocks in the bins. Risking it all to bang a ball, nigga. Recipe for riches, cause I call him bigger. Based on a true story in the Hustler's Handbook. Monday to Monday, by the hook of the crook.
Making deposits. I don't really wanna let go of my years, my wallet. No matter how many times they try to step in the way, just know at the end of the day that anyway, any day I get it, just know I'ma get paid. Yeah.
Man, this shit was crazy though. Just my pops handed me the keys to that S550 that he got not too long ago. Man, I ain't think I was gonna be able to ride in a big body like that. That shit was crazy.
Word, bro. That nigga gave you the keys.
Shit,
bro.
he told me to leave the car in the driveway, you know what I'm saying? And it was just like, man, I'm just reliving and just doing what the fuck I wanna do.
Nigga over here pulling out thinking he Jay-Z and shit.
Shoot type shit. He just
S550.
You know what I'm saying?